Welcome back, True Seeker. It is August 13th, 2023, and big story today is what broke last night as well. But Trump likely going to get his fourth indictment, and the latest will come from Georgia and a prosecuting office in Atlanta. And in light of the fourth indictment coming from Georgia, Georgia's the fourth state in order of statehood. And again, we're in the time of Joe Biden, one of few Democrats to win Georgia since the time of Jimmy Carter. But anyhow, the fourth indictment from the fourth state. And if you've been following my channel in recent days, I was talking about, but before this headline broke, I was talking about how important I realized the combination was of the number 4 and the number 60. And I guess just to get to the point, the day that this news broke, that Georgia's likely going to become the fourth state, August 12th, it was Donald Trump's 60th day of his age. Again, in Gematria, 4 equals 60. But I've been working on my short book about Kobe Bryant's death in relation to other people, including Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins. And again, I just realized there's this huge relationship with 4 and 60. I was just talking about how I'd been overlooking this pattern. And then, it's like, 48 hours after doing that video, this happens, right? The fourth indictment from the fourth state, Georgia. Now, something I talk about all the time is, in light of this coming out of Atlanta, that's Martin Luther King Jr.'s hometown. And MLK was assassinated on April 4th. 4-4. And again, 4 is that number associated with death. Again, in Mandarin, Chinese, and in Japanese, you pronounce the number 4 the same way you pronounce death. In case you missed the videos and you just came into this video for the first time and you've never seen my work before, to show you what I'm talking about with 4 and 60 and what I've been focused on in the deaths of these athletes, the 1983 NBA Finals. We got to go back to 1983. Bear Bryant died January 26th that year. Kobe Bryant would die on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant, January 26, 2020. But Bear Bryant died in 83. Kobe was 4 years old to start 1983. He turned 5 in August, but he was 4 years old in 83. Moses Malone with Kobe's hometown Philly swept the Lakers 4-0 in the finals. Kobe Bryant's father retired from the NBA in 83. And, in addition to the other 83s, Kobe died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, while the Pope was 83 years old. And then in Gematria, helicopter crashes 83. But anyway, the 460 thing, those 1983 NBA Finals, the 1983 NBA Finals, they were 60 days. They began May 22nd that year, May 22nd, 60 days after Moses Malone's March 23rd birthday. The finals began exactly 60 days after Moses Malone's birthday. They ended 281 days after Kobe's 4th birthday. 281 is the 60th prime. In Gematria, where 4 equals 60, so does the name Malone. 4 is 60, Malone is 60. And notice how Daryl Dawkins is also 60. Daryl Dawkins was the first player in NBA history drafted out of high school in the NBA, and he was drafted by Philadelphia. Kobe was the 4th player drafted out of high school in NBA history. But Moses Malone was the first player drafted out of high school the year before Daryl Dawkins in the ABA, because the ABA and NBA wouldn't merge until a couple years later. So Moses Malone, the first player out of high school. Kobe, part of that legacy. It's only a short list of names that have come out of high school. But Kobe was the 4th in the NBA, right? And again, Moses Malone was drafted by the Utah Stars. Kobe finished his career against Utah, and Kobe scored 60 points. And Moses Malone died at age 60, and Moses Malone died right after Daryl Dawkins. And Daryl Dawkins is 60 when you take the alphabetic order with numerology again. Daryl Dawkins is 60, just with the alphabetic order again. 460, Malone 60. And then you think of Karl Malone with Utah, right? And when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, Karl Malone 60. So I was looking at this and going, there's something big with this 4 and 60, because I mean, these are monumental storylines. And I just said the other day, I said, I'm sure I've been overlooking this pattern. It probably happens more often than we know. And then boom, 48 hours later. I mean, that should also be the proof to people. The fact that these things happen so many times, and I've been doing this for a decade, and so many people have witnessed it, but so many times that exact things happen. I have an epiphany about a number pattern that this cabal uses that we're exposing, and then boom, here it is again. You know, the cabal's at it. And remember, the upcoming presidential election is the 60th presidential election. And what we were showing last year is when Donald Trump's wife fell down the stairs and died, his ex-wife, that he has a magazine cover with her and him on a staircase. When she died last year, we were in the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, which went longer than a regular calendar year. It went from May 20th, 2021 to July 31st, 2022. And again, the Jesuits were founded by Ignatius Loyola May 20th when it began is significant because he was shot with a cannonball that day. Remember, Donald Trump was sentenced to a court date on May 20th by Judge Cannon. We just talked about that. Billy Cannon died on the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola, the year that Joe Burrow transferred to LSU and went on and recreated Billy Cannon's history. And then he went to the NFL and played all of Billy Cannon's teams in the playoffs as he took the Bengals back to the Super Bowl for the first time in forever. And not to get off topic, but Bengals got that 62. But again, the 60 thing. So just more fours. Kobe, again, the day before Kobe died, he fell to fourth in all-time points scored. LeBron passed Kobe in Kobe's hometown, Philadelphia, on the court with snakes on it, right? Like Kobe was the Black Mamba. And again, Moses Malone, he died 4 years before Kobe, right before Kobe's retirement season, along with Daryl Dawkins, the first two players out of high school. Kobe's last game was in a leap year on April 13th, 2016. That's the 104th day of the year, and high school equals 104. Again, just the ritualism of this. But again, the 4 and 60 thing. Kobe, the year he died, again, LeBron passed him in points scored. He falls to fourth in points scored. Then LeBron and the Lakers end up winning the finals after Kobe's death, getting LeBron's fourth championship. Again, and it was on a weird day because of COVID, after Kobe was buried in Corona del Mar, and then the pandemic was declared because of the Utah Jazz and the Frenchman Rudy Gobert, when, again, we're saying all along the Jesuits are doing this, who are from France, like Ignatius Loyola. But, oh yeah, the Jesuit Ignatian year. We talked about why it began May 20th. It ended July 31st because that's the day in history Ignatius Loyola died. And last year, Bill Russell, who went to Jesuit San Francisco University, died in a huge ritual. On the 31st, the 11th prime, the master number, like his 11 championships, like Kobe's death was foreshadowed in the 2011 Nike short film Black Mamba that ends with the exploding helicopter. And then in the 11th month of 2016, in the month they put out the Kobe Bryant After Death shoe, in the exploding helicopter, A Legends of Chamberlain Heights. By the way, Kobe's last line, watch the Black Mamba short film. It's not even quite 6 minutes. Watch how Kobe's last line is about being a legend. And again, you got in the 11th month and the year 11, these jokes about Kobe and helicopters and exploding helicopters. You know, legends are forever. Forever. But yeah, now they're putting up the Kobe statue next year, 4 years after his death. And, you know who's 60 years old right now? The man who won his fourth championship in the year Kobe entered the NBA in 1996. Michael Jordan. And he was 6-0 in the finals. He's 60 right now. And I just wonder, I do wonder about, you know, the upcoming November 3rd, 27th anniversary of Kobe playing his first game in the NBA. Again, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant both 113 like the National Basketball Association. But anyway, I'm hitting other numbers in here too, but this 4 and 60 thing is huge. It's huge. And I'm not doing the best job because I'm being too tangential right now, but there's even more to this 4 and 60 list. It's just... And you know, don't forget, we did a video. Remember what they did this year on the Illuminati's birthday, May 1st? They put out the new Kobe Bryant 4 Pro Tro shoe. And that day, Nike's stock price went up 81 cents. Like Kobe's career high was 81 points in his 666th game when Kobe beat Bryant's 81. And Mark of the Beast is 81. He had the 666 workout. 6 months, 6 days, 6 hours. But Nike's stock price went up 81 cents to $126 a share that day, like Kobe died on 126. Like Daryl Dawkins died on the day, leaving 126 days left in the year. Again, Moses Malone dead at 60. Kobe scores 60 against Utah, the state that drafted Moses Malone. In Gematria, Daryl Dawkins 60, Malone 60, Karl Malone 60. I mean, just think about all this. And there's something about racism, too. The not-so-nice N-word equals 60, and Moses Malone was drafted in 74. Kobe Bryant died in the 74th NBA season. Jordan's father was killed off Interstate 74 or US 74. And, there's a lot of things behind that 74 number. Another interesting 74 that fits in with the larger list is Mormon. Mormon equals 74. And the Mormons are trying to change their ways, but historically, the religion was inherently racist. And that's because it taught that the closer you were to God, the whiter your skin was. So, I mean, just think about that. The more spiritual you are, the closer your relationship with God is. Or again, the closer you are is the more spirit. So essentially, if you're a more spiritual person, you have whiter skin. I mean, that's obviously not correct. And it goes with the magical white underwear. And I think somewhere it fits in with, again, all these 60s too. And leagues that make a lot of money off young black men who are physical specimens in a league that is owned by people who are predominantly looking a lot different. And I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, if you're new here, we're also always showing how sports and politics are all synced up. And to make a point, again, this news broke last night, but it's the huge focus today, August 13th. And August 13th is an interesting date. Today they're really getting into the details of what's behind the Georgia indictment, and it's supposedly that on January 1st, New Year's Day, 2021, shortly after the election, Trump was trying to get into some shenanigans with the Georgia voting machines to turn the state, and it happened in Coffee County, right? So look at the Gematria Coffee County, 138, like today is the 13th day of the 8th month, 13/8. And as we talked about so many times, Donald Trump 138, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, federal 138. Great example of sports and Donald Trump. Big money maker for us before it happened. We called way in advance why the Nationals had a very good narrative to beat the Astros in the World Series in Game 7, 138 days after Trump's birthday in the 115th World Series, because again, Trump took office with the 115th Congress. He hired Steve Ray, the Nationals announcer, to do Inauguration Day. There's more to it. But notice how in Gematria, notice how Nationals is 138, the team that won it. And keep in mind the upcoming election date will be November 5th. November 5th, 115. Trump took office the first time with the 115th Congress. But Dave Martinez is the manager of the Nationals, 138 like Nationals. When the Nationals beat the Astros in Game 7, it's amazing how many of these numbers played in the way it all was. But it was 138 days after Trump's birthday. That was one of the things we had mapped out. Nationals is 57 in Gematria. The Astros picked up their 57th postseason loss in Game 7, losing the World Series. The 105, I got to go back and check. The Nationals might have went 10-5 in the postseason that year. It was something like that. I think the Nationals might have gone 10-5 in the postseason, winning the World Series. And Washington, D.C. hadn't been in a baseball championship since 33 when all that went down. But again, perfect rituals. And it's because all of this stuff is being controlled by the same cabal. The Jesuits founded the Illuminati. Again, the Jesuits from France, a Frenchman on the Utah Jazz. Here, just to show you something, when they declared the coronavirus pandemic, you see how Utah Jazz is 113? Remember, the NBA locked down on 11/3. The same day the coronavirus pandemic was declared. Out of all the teams in the NBA, all 30 teams, by the way, 113 is the 30th prime number. Out of all 30 teams, only one full team name equals 113, and only one other team in the league has a connection to 113, and that's Dallas, which scored 113 points on March 11th, the day the league was locked down. They got to finish their game. And we call it the 113 League. Again, Kobe Bryant 113, who made his debut on November 3rd. Michael Jordan 113. The National Basketball Association 113. Again, this number's bigger than the NBA. It goes back to a secret society, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which was founded by the Jesuits, and that's why they share the Admirum Dei Gloriam motto, but Scottish 113. Trump, again, Freemasonry 58, like secret society, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Trump, the winner of the 58th election. Announced from the 58-story Trump Tower. Just down in Alabama, in Montgomery, the day before the brawl on 5/8, 58 years after MLK's speech there near the end of his life. The scene that's the total opposite of what MLK advocated for, that we all learned about in our 13 years of slave school, pledging to the 13 stripes, where seemingly we had a lot of information go through our head, but it didn't really translate into good people, good skills, translated into a population that's getting replaced by AI and not doing anything to stand up for their rights and liberties or catching on to any of the patterns. Catching on to this pattern is pretty complicated. I'll admit that, but again, just since I've been talking about 4 and 60 in recent days and how I made this an integral part of the new book because I realized how powerful it was, if anyone watched that and was like, man, that's dumb, I would hope that person would watch today's video and go, wait a minute, he was just talking about that. That is pretty weird. 4th indictment in the 4th state, and the news breaks on Trump's 60th day of his age. See, that's my frustration, because I know how people are. It's just like my sister. My sister, after a decade, I can't persuade her because she just never listens. She made up her mind from the first second, and she hasn't budged because her world's not about information coming in and changing her mind. Her mind is about believing and doing the same thing she's done since she was a child. She's going to celebrate all the same holidays the same way, get excited about the same things each year, wait every year for Christmas to come around, Oprah to come on, latest Oprah magazine, latest Martha Stewart recipe. And it's just like, in this mode, I like these things. I'm enjoying life. I think everything will be good if I just focus on this, and I don't want to get caught up in any kind of stuff like this. This sounds crazy to me. It's like, crazy? You haven't even taken time to listen. But yeah, people got to listen, because we're not wrong. We're not wrong. I mean, we called the last election dead on. Had I not changed my opinion in the Trump-Hillary Clinton, I would have been dead on about that too, but then I changed my opinion at the end. I laid it all out in February of 2016 before they'd even picked Trump as the Republican nominee about why it would be him and the ongoing agenda of divide and conquer and taking us to the civil war that they keep on foreshadowing. And you know what? I mean, go back and watch that video because it's exactly what I said. Now they got Trump in Montgomery, the old Confederate capital, doing this on the anniversary. Shout out to the gentleman who called into the stream the other day and pointed out, because I said in the stream, I said, I bet something happened on August 5th in history in the Civil War. And a gentleman looked it up, and he noticed 150, excuse me, I typed in the wrong thing. He noticed 159 years ago to the day, on August 5th, there was a Confederate riverboat battle in Montgomery. 159 years today. We just talked about Donald Trump in 138. Notice when you run it in reverse, Donald Trump's 159. His name's also 60, like this is the 60th election. And maybe I never even finished making the point about why I brought up the Jesuitic Nation year. But again, I was making the point that calendar was longer than a year because his wife died. His wife died on the 60th week of the Jesuitic Nation year. And she died on 14/7, like 147, like there's 147 windows in the White House, like U.S. President is 147, and President of the United States is 147. And she died 45 years after they got married in 1977. Got married in 77, D.C. on the 77th Meridian West. But yeah, then we'll talk about the day she got buried, because that factors in with this story out of Coffee County. Okay. I'm making this video more complicated than the movie Inception. I apologize for that. But if you're following along, you have a great attention span. Okay. So 4 and 60. 4 and 60. All made very clear. Again, MLK from Atlanta. By the way, do you guys see that they're moving the Emmys? Donald Trump comes from the world of the Emmys and TV. They're moving the 75th Emmys to Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And notice just the name Martin, right? Martin, 75. And again, I worry about Martin Lawrence, who turns 59 next year. Martin's show was set in Detroit, where Motown came out in 59. Again, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Slave is 59, like Negro, like Blues, like Rasta. Martin Lawrence is going to turn 59 next year after those 75th Emmys. That and again, Martin Lawrence already had some weird stuff. Martin Lawrence, I mean, shed a lot of light that something really weird's going on in Hollywood because he spoke out briefly before he seemingly got back with the program and Will Smith and Bad Boy movies. But yeah, there's something about that. Again, they're doing that in an election year. Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated in an election year along with Robert F. Kennedy, and now his son is in the election. And again, if you've been missing out, here to make a point. You see how April 4th is 144? You see how when you spell out 44, it's 144, just like Jesuit order? JFK was killed 144 days from meeting with the Pope as the 44th term U.S. president. Bobby Kennedy was pronounced dead at 1:44 in the morning, and RFK Jr. officially filed his papers to be in this election April 5th of this year, 144 days after the Jesuit Order Superior General's birthday, Arturo Sosa, born November 12th. And you see the Jesuit Order 72? JFK met with the Pope on July 2nd. From that day to November 22nd, total of 144 days. Dealey Plaza and Ambassador Hotel are both 54. Just show you. Ambassador Hotel. It's also 153 and 54, like Jesuit Order. And then Dealey Plaza. And that's where JFK was killed. Dealey Plaza, Ambassador Hotel, where Bobby Kennedy was killed. And with regards to 44 and Trump was number 45, but he was the 44th person to be president, and that was because of Grover Cleveland, who had a split term, and Trump's 2016 convention was in Cleveland. And, with regards to the whole Trump 58 thing, that's actually a really big 58 because Trump was in that Cleveland basketball stadium right after the Cavs won the finals on the real King James's birthday, and the real King James died at age 58, right? Dead at 58. And Freemasonry and Rosicrucian are 58, like secret society, like biblical, and he was a member of the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians. So anyway, to the 201 part, when Donald Trump just set off the fireworks in Montgomery, again, that was one day after he was in town. You see how the Jesuit order is 84 and 201? 84 and 201. Ignatius Loyola is 201. Founder of the Jesuits, died 84 days from his birthday. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. His birth numerology is 84. His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, is 201. Anyhow, on August 4th, Trump was in Montgomery, and the hotel he was at, the address was 201. Last year, when he buried his ex-wife, he buried her on the 201st day of the year, the anniversary of the moon landing. And again, just for the record, Neil Alden Armstrong, 201 and 84. Order of Illuminati. Remember the Kobe Bryant shoe we were talking about came out on their birthday. Order of Illuminati, 201. Adam Weishaupt, the Jesuit, the founder, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. You know who did the first exploding helicopter movie for Kobe was Robert Rodriguez, whose name is 201. Robert Rodriguez. And I was reading about it, and they said it premiered at Mann's Chinese Theater. That place is super Masonic, but notice the 201 and 84 in that as well. 201 and 105, like Order of Illuminati. Anyway. The 201 here is right here. Trump's supposedly going to get this indictment because tampering in Coffee County, which we just talked about, where that fits in, tampering in this federal election in Coffee County, the latest 138 ritual, to further divide the masses who are so entrenched in the stories. The Society of Jesus has had them with the stories from the beginning. The old government of Europe was the Catholic Church. But on January 1st, 2021, days ahead of the January 7th voting systems breach, Catherine Frees, an attorney working with Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and other Trump allies, shared a written invitation to examine voting systems in Coffee County with a group of Trump allies. Whoa! Sounds serious. Again, these totally illegitimate selections that's been so obvious since 2000 when number 43 was elected in the state where his brother was the 43rd governor and the last Republican president was his daddy, who was also the 43rd vice president. They all went to Yale, which equals 43. Well, Jeb didn't get in. Anyhow, notice January 1st, 2021 was 201 days after Trump's birthday. And again, Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the nation's age, 201, on 20/1. And we all know all the 201s that go with Joe Biden and the death of his wife and daughter and son, Beau Biden, 201 days before the Pope, and the Jesuit priest who did Beau Biden's funeral at 46, and Joe Biden's inauguration as number 46 on that big fat Bible, that big old story that so many people believe in. Man, Joe Biden's got a real personal Bible pick. I bet he's a great guy. But yeah, I mean, just how many times can they just do the same thing and get away with it? And yeah, the reason I put spiritual guidance at the beginning of this video is because I feel like that's what it is. Ever since I started researching this topic, I've just always gotten signs that my thoughts and what I was looking into and researching, that they weren't mistaken, because things have just been happening like this the whole 10. Again, I started this August of 2013. That's when I found the word gematria and started looking into this. I was trying to find out what it was about numbers and news a decade ago. It was at this very time I was doing my first post to Facebook, only to get roasted by everybody in my feed that I sounded crazy, just showing a long list of 74s. It all started with showing things like how English, gematria, occult, Masonic, holiday are all 74, and this nation's birthday is 7/4. People would say, Zach, you don't know that's just a coincidence? You sound crazy. And I'd be like, wait a minute, how should I know that's a coincidence? To me, that's really interesting. Here, I didn't even show you that if you use the alphabetic order in numerology, Independence Day is 74, or that killing's 74, and 3 of the first 5 presidents died on this day. Moses Malone drafted in 74, Kobe Bryant in the 74th NBA season, Jordan's father on the side of US 74, and then Event 201, just to bring that number back, remember that was October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. 10:18, Luke 10:18, where Satan comes to earth, falling from the clouds like lightning. Do you guys see what they did with Kobe in hindsight, who had his career high in his 666th game and had the 666 workout? Again, he fell from the sky in the City of Angels. The movie Angel Has Fallen came out on his last birthday. The Kobe Bryant After Death shoe, right at the same time as the Comedy Central episode, Legends of Chamberlain Heights, where he dies in the crash. It came out on 16/11, the 16th day of the 11th month. Like the King James Bible came out in 1611, and again, LeBron passing Kobe and points scored in Kobe's hometown, Philadelphia, with the biblical name. But there's a phrase in the Bible for Satan, that old serpent, which is 201. I've been talking about that huge video game right now, Diablo, how they keep doing the 201s with it. Releases 201 days after the Superior General's birthday. Again, the Jesuit Order 201. The Jesuits, wolves in sheep's clothing, as they've been warned about for centuries. Not really about a positive spirituality, using the name Jesus, this positive spiritual figure, in a deceptive way to control and manipulate. But the Holy Bible's also 201. Kobe and the City of Angels from Philadelphia, biblically named. The Church of Philadelphia gets the letter about the synagogue of Satan. The 74th NBA season in the King James Bible in light of the LeBron parallel. LeBron won the final on the real King James' birthday the year Kobe retired. Gets his 4th championship after sending Kobe to 4th in points scored the year Kobe dies. But anyway, okay. And beyond just the basketball at the 201, from Kobe's last birthday to the day they declared the coronavirus pandemic, which is the day the NBA locked down against Utah, who Kobe finished his career against, who Moses was drafted by, And in Exodus 4, God turns Moses' staff into a snake, bringing it back to that whole 4 thing, and Kobe being 4 the year Moses Malone won it for Philly, and the year Bear Bryant died, all that. Event 201. That was shortly before Kobe's death. The coronavirus pandemic simulation, and again, it was on the day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, which are credited to the Jesuit order and go back to 95. And anyway, after Event 201, we get the coronavirus pandemic. And remember, that coronavirus pandemic was also declared 666 days after May 15th, 2018, and that was the sister simulation of Event 201. That was Clade X. Clade X equals 113, like 11/3, like if I didn't finish the list earlier. Again, coronavirus pandemic, 113. The National Basketball Association, 113. Blamed on the Utah Jazz, the only full 113 team in the 30-team league. And again, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's buried in Corona Del Mar right before coronavirus. Utah, part of it. And again, the 666 thing, the mark of the beast. Kobe scored 81 in his 666th game. Mark of the beast is 81. The jab, the word vaccination in Sumerian gematria, that's just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. Vaccination, 666. You had to be vaxxed to buy or sell in a lot of places, to go to school, to be a part of the system. You had to wear a mask also prior to that, 1 letter off from Mark. All of these little rituals playing on all of these little biblical themes. The Bible, Exodus equals 74, Jesus equals 74. Ties in with Moses being drafted in 74, Moses Malone. Ties with Kobe dying in the 74th NBA season. Lucifer also 74, who's referred to as the morning star, like Jesus. Jesus, the Son of God, Kobe dead on a Sunday. All these little biblical riddles, all brought together through Numbers. And remember, the 4th book of the Bible is titled Numbers. The 4th book of the Bible is Numbers, where we started talking about this relationship with 4 and 60. The 4th book of the Bible is Numbers. It's of the first 5 books, which are known as the 5 books of Moses, or the Torah. And again, Kobe was 4 in 1983, but turned 5 later that year. 4 when Moses Malone won it 4-0, only for, again, Moses Malone to die, Kobe's retirement season, then Kobe to die 4 years later. I suspect there will be bad news for someone who's has a clear parallel to Kobe Bryant on the 27th anniversary of his NBA debut this year, November 3rd. From that Kobe 4 Pro Tro shoe coming out on the Illuminati's birthday to November 3rd is 187 days. We just talked about that with Sean Dawkins, and we've talked about it with many more. Again, just a number connected to homicide code. And again, MJ's 60 right now and went 6-0 in the finals. And you got the 60th presidential election coming up, and that's probably going to be a big number, because that's how we see how the rituals work worldwide, how they bring the news and the sports, and you see them celebrating the same numbers or encoding the same numbers in all the rituals when you pay attention to this. You see how perfect the patterns are. Okay. my mind is exhausted right now, because trying to perfect the book, like the editing process of a book, is the it can put extra gray hairs on your head. So anyway, staying busy over here, and sorry, Jonathan and I missed each other Friday night, and then I missed Jonathan last night, but him and I will do a stream in the very near future. And again, he wants to cover the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. Of course, Jonathan's finishing his book on all the very suspicious deaths in the world of hip-hop. And remember, Tupac Shakur, one of those. who died 2 days after Kobe's debut in the NBA, and seemingly by the exact same pattern. Tupac even dying on the anniversary of Moses Malone, and there's a reason for all of it. Again, all goes back to them doing the same biblical type rituals with the same numbers, the same dates, over and over, if you just pay attention. But all right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. I just wanted to get this one out there. And John, thank you again. John says, when am I selling the new books? As soon as I'm done with it and it's available, that's when I'll start promoting it. I'm gonna order several copies again, so I'll be able to send people signed copies. But I'll announce it when it's all done and everything's exact, because announcing it early last time cost me some problems. I thought it was going to be cheaper than it was, and it ended up being more expensive. So this time I will make sure everything is finalized before I make any announcements. Last time I ended up selling about 1,000 books at break even, which is a lot of time taking it to the post office and packaging. And it would have been nice to at least made $1 on those, because it took a lot of time to ship all those. And again, the mistake was announcing the price when I thought I knew what the price was going to be. So Spatium V8er says, Trump's tied with Jupiter cycles. And thank you, by the way. He's a Gemini ruled by Mercury, Jupiter's eagle. Yeah, Jupiter does equal 45. I know that, just like number 45. He was number 45. So in Gematria, Jupiter's 45. Going with Trump being number 45, like Berlin Wall equals 45, like Mike Pence equals 45. Again, Trump was called president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall with Mike Pence. Holy Bible's 45. 45 is a special number. It's the 9th triangular number. And again, a lot of big biblical rituals in the time Trump was in office. Kobe, COVID. Golf, so he goes on. He was number 45, golf course called Trump National Jupiter. Has a cute photo with an eagle-like Zeus statue. Yeah, that is cute. Yeah, a lot of people think Trump's not in the club, but again, you just learn the knowledge and pay attention. You'll see that he's on the same strings that the rest of these people that get in places like the White House are. He might talk different. He might look different. He might seemingly come from a different place, reality TV, the world of business, entertainment, but that's just believing the stories. How many of us actually know these people at all other than what's presented on the screen? Okay. Yeah, I think we got all the main points in there. Again, thank you guys for hitting the like and the share. And you know what? If you watch this video and you don't think I presented it well enough, because maybe I didn't. I felt like I was too tangential. That's what I wish. A lot of people have stepped up and helped make videos, but I noticed, like in other genres on YouTube, just things that get lots of views that YouTube doesn't block. There's lots of really talented video makers just making all kinds of videos on topics. And it's just like, we need somebody like that to come into the Gematria community that knows how to make a well-edited, more compact video, because there's so much information on the screen. I should have become that person in the last decade. I have not done well, but at improving my presentation. But sometimes presentations are just better than others because I deliver them better. But in terms of the visuals and the way I do it, but yeah, I've just always been busy with the work. So it's like, I don't know, isn't the presentation means good enough? Maybe it's not. So anyway, if there is somebody out there who can do it better, the world does need that. The world does need that. And yeah, you want to watch something else today? Take 6 minutes and watch the 2011 short film The Black Mamba, starring Kobe Bryant, Danny Trejo, Bruce Willis, and Kanye West, that ends with an exploding helicopter. You'll notice the bomb ticks all the way down to 4 seconds before the helicopter explodes. 4 seconds. So yeah, it's Kobe Bryant doing an interview with Robert Rodriguez about how his movie should be, with like scenes of the ideas supposedly playing out in their minds. And I find that interesting too, in light of the way it all went down for Kobe. So, at least so we're told. But yeah, thanks again, Truth Seeker. And see if Jonathan and I can connect later today and be back for another stream. So, yeah, we got it all in there for that one, or at least enough. Until next time, everybody.